Hey, what's up guys? Before we get into this video, if you could just give this video a like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. I'm currently trying to get to 75 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could hit that, that would be great. So I bought the Switch a couple years ago. So for the first year I decided just to use the Joy-Cons and the Joy-Con grip that came with the Switch to see if it was good enough to play most of the games that I wanted to play in docked mode. For example, I played the entirety of Breath of the Wild just with the Joy-Con grip. I played most of Splatoon with that Joy-Con grip. I played basically any game that came out that year and prior with the Joy-Con grip. And when I first got the Switch, I did notice it felt a little bit weird, but I got used to it quick enough to where I thought that the Joy-Cons would be good enough. About a year after I got the Switch, I decided to buy the Pro Controller when it was on sale for about £50, and that was almost exactly a year ago. So today I'm going to be telling you basically my impressions over the year and whether it was worth getting the Pro Controller over the Joy-Cons that come with the Nintendo Switch. Now, in terms of durability, the Pro Controller is basically in perfect condition to how it came a year ago. There's little to no scratches on it. The only place that it did scratch was on the glossy section at the front with the USB-C port. But in terms of the front face and the grip itself, basically mint condition. It's perfectly fine. The thumbsticks still feel great as they came. The LNRs feel exactly the same as they came a year ago. Triggers feel much better than the Joy-Con triggers. They've got more movement to them. Now when it comes to the D-pad, I'd say it's acceptable. It's not the best D-pad Nintendo have ever made. And there's a little issue with it, which I didn't really notice until I started playing Tetris 99. If you roll it in a certain way, it'll trigger a random action. So while I was playing Tetris, and obviously you move very quick in Tetris, it randomly just moved the piece to the bottom for no apparent reason. And this is apparently quite a widespread issue. I don't think Nintendo's done anything to fix it yet, as far as I'm aware. But again, most games you will never notice it. Like I said, I didn't notice it until very recently. In terms of looks, I think it's still, like I say, looks very good. I got the black Pro Controller, this sort of standard looking one. But the new designs for them do look good. Nintendo hasn't really released any new Pro Controllers in a while. But there is the Splatoon Pro Controller and the Xenoblade Pro Controller. And I guess the Smash Bros. Pro Controller as well. They all look very nice. But I'm quite happy with the standard one. I can't stress enough how good the battery life on the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller actually is. I'd say over the course of the year I might have had to go out of my way to charge it probably about 10 times, maybe even less. The battery life is insane. And I was worried about it deteriorating over the year, even just a little bit, but I don't think it has. The Pro Controller also has the same blue band around the home button as the Joy-Con. And I was hoping that it would get enabled during the year, maybe for Nintendo Switch Online or something like that. But it still hasn't been used, and I'm still not really sure what it could be used for. I was assuming it would be maybe to notify that you've got an invite or something like that, but no, nothing comes up. So hopefully Nintendo do something with it, because it's in every Joy-Con and Pro Controller, so it must be used for something. Now there is one pretty big issue, but it's not necessarily at the fault of the Pro Controller. There are certain games, normally first-party Nintendo games, that are Joy-Con exclusive, we could call them, where you're forced to use the Joy-Con. They won't let you use the Pro Controller at all, which is strange. A weird example is Pokemon Let's Go. If you play it in docked mode, it's a one Joy-Con game. You do everything with one Joy-Con. And some people may think, oh, well, if that's the way it's designed and everything, that's just the way it's designed. It's designed for one Joy-Con, one-handed. Yeah, alright. But when you put the Switch into handheld mode, all of a sudden you can use both Joy-Cons as the controller. If you can do that in handheld mode, I don't see why you're restricted to using a single Joy-Con in docked mode when it's clearly programmed into the game that you can use both. They're just choosing not to. So that's a little bit annoying. Another one is games like Mario Party or Super Mario Party. I do wish you could play with a Pro Controller in that as well, but I sort of understand it more. Some of the mini games are motion based, but I can't really see why they wouldn't work with a Pro Controller. But I'm less annoyed by that. But overall, I would say that the Pro Controller is 100% worth buying this year. It was 100% worth buying last year. I've used it all the time. It definitely feels better to play with games like Splatoon, basically shooters. It's very good for shooters. You get more sort of movement of the joysticks, which really helps, even for games like Fortnite. I find Fortnite with the Joy-Con is a little bit too finicky to play, but with the Pro Controller it's very, very easy. But I think that also comes with the Pro Controller just feeling so good in the hand. It's like it's moulded perfectly to be in your hands. And it's weird because when I got the Pro Controller initially, it looks very sort of flat and a little bit curvy, and I didn't really understand why people thought it was so comfy. But then when you hold it, you realise it's perfect. So yeah, even though the price tag's a little bit high, I'd still probably recommend it. I definitely recommend it. The only thing that I do wish they'd add one thing. If they could add one thing to the controller, it would be a headphone jack. Because they even had a headphone jack on the Wii U gamepad, which was also a wireless controller. But I don't know if Nintendo's ever going to do that, so I don't think it'd be worth you holding off buying it just for the chance that they'll add a headphone jack. So right now I'd say go in and buy it, even at full price. Full price, definitely worth it. Very, very good controller. And I think for games coming up like Super Mario Maker, it's going to be almost mandatory to play with the D-pad. So definitely buy the Pro Controller. And while you're still here, if you'd just like to give me a like and subscribe, I'm looking to get 75 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you guys could help me, I'd really appreciate it. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.